Trailblazer Weekly, the football team traveled to Michigan to battle number 2 Grand Valley State, and the volleyball team hosted a pivotal RMAC matchup inside the Student Activity Center on Saturday. We'll break down those games and the rest of the fall sports weekend on today's show.
Plus, the men's golf team is preparing to host the Dixie State Fall Preview on Monday and Tuesday, so we headed out to a recent practice to help you get to know each member of the team as well. We had a little putting competition with a few of the players, and you won't want to miss how it ends.
We've got it all on today's show. Trailblazer Weekly starts right now. We are live inside the CEC TV studios on the Community Education Channel, Radio Dixie 91.3 FM, and the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page with another edition of Trailblazer Weekly. I'm Carrick Sagmiller, and as always, joining me is Drayson Ball. We've got a great show today, Drayson. I'm excited to jump right into this stuff. We got to get out to go to golf practice this last week. A ton of good stuff. I don't know about you. I'm excited to get this episode on the move.
Unbelievable episode, Carrick. Like you mentioned, we're going to have that awesome golf segment. We got that for the majority of the show. It's going to be an awesome segment. We really hope everyone enjoys it. So
it's going to be fantastic. It was a great opportunity to get outside of the studio and to take some time to really get to know some of our student athletes and coaches, and we're looking forward to being able to do the same things at other sports practices as well. So that, like Drayson said, that'll take up the middle parts of the show this week. We felt like it was a good opportunity to get out and to show you some of the men's golfers and Coach Brad Sutterfield as they get set to host their Dixie State Fall Regional Preview. But first, we got to start the show off as we always do with our weekend recap, and we start with football. As I mentioned in the preview for today's show, the football team, a wonderful opportunity to go and get some national attention as the Trailblazers made the trek, and I do not use that term loosely, a trip of nearly 1,800 miles one way to get to Allendale, Michigan, as the Trailblazers took on number 2 Grand Valley State in Michigan, ultimately falling 35-14, Drayson. But really, I saw some good things throughout the game, as I'm sure you did as well. As we watched, that was a nationally broadcast game on ESPN3, on the ESPN app. It was fun to be able to see them get that national attention. I felt like they did some good things.
They certainly did, Carrick. I mean, if you were a fan of Dixie State football or an alumni or a student, you can be proud of the way the Trailblazers went to Allendale, Michigan and competed against the number 2 team in the country. I think they represented the school very well. Obviously, they did come up short, a 35-14 loss, like you mentioned, but they did do a lot of good things, Carrick, and I think they were able to kind of shock a lot of people, because I think going in, a lot of people just thought, oh, it's a nationally ranked number 2 team in the country, and we're not at that point yet, and we're going to maybe get blown out. And obviously, it was pretty one-sided, but the Trailblazers competed, and I think that's the thing that you can point to most, is that they went in there and they weren't afraid. They weren't intimidated, and they went out and they had a good game plan. They played hard, Carrick. There was a lot of things to come back. The first, 3 of the first 6 drives in the first half, Carrick, ended up in Laker territory. So the Trailblazers were moving the ball. They were able to get across midfield, get into Grand Valley State's territory, and threatened on a few occasions to put the ball in the end zone. They had a few opportunities, passes into the end zone that were knocked down or incomplete. But they were in that game for the first half, really the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of that game. And they did a lot of things well, like you mentioned, and I think it's a really good opportunity for us to say, hey, we can compete with these big schools, and we don't have to feel like we're intimidated or outmatched going to a number 2 team in the country like that.
One of the things that was exciting for me is we were still over at volleyball, the Student Activity Center, as they were winding down their match against MSU Denver. We got it pulled up on the phone there, so we kind of keep track of volleyball and then watch football at the same time. Game started, first play from scrimmage, Alex Lilliard gets an interception. You're thinking Dixie State's in business. A couple of plays later, they get a first down. That drive did stall out, but it showed the Trailblazers a little shot in the arm that, hey, you know what, we can try to stand with these guys toe-to-toe. And for your information, that was Grand Valley State's quarterback, Bart Williams. That was his first interception and only interception to this point of the season. And it showed them that, hey, we're going to have to bring our A game the rest of this game in order to stay with this Dixie State team. And they did, 28-0 lead at halftime, and then they get the 1 touchdown in the third quarter, and then Dixie State scoring 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I've heard some people say, even some media here and some of the print articles, that literally they used the words and I couldn't believe they used these words, that it was garbage time touchdowns. Like you're gonna go out and say that in your article. I don't know that that's really necessary to do, because here's the thing: Grand Valley State is one of the best Division II teams in the country. And like I've said before, I've gone on record saying this. By the way, it was fun to hear the ESPN broadcasters basically say word for word some of the things that we said on the show last week. But last week on the show, I said that Grand Valley State could go and beat a lot of FCS football teams, and I stand by that statement today. They're that good. They are that good. So at that point in the game, the players that Dixie State is playing against in that third and fourth quarter are probably RMAC type players. So that's the type of players that we're playing week in and week out. So if you're going to have some local media members go on a rant about, hey, Dixie State added 2 garbage time touchdowns at the end of that game, that's completely untrue, because then you're saying that the touchdowns that Dixie State is scoring throughout the year are garbage time touchdowns, and that's not how it is. They put together a couple of great drives. Easton Smith got the tight end, Kentari Yoshikawa, involved in the first scoring drive, and Yoshikawa gets his first collegiate touchdown, catching a pass in the end zone. And then Casey Allison, his first action of the season, as he's fighting back from being dinged up on a couple occasions, he makes a great touchdown pass in the back of the end zone, and that can only provide momentum as they get ready for Western State on Saturday.
And you mentioned it, Carrick. I said, every time you can score touchdowns against a stacked team like this, it's got to be a good thing. Obviously, there was a few things that the Trailblazers could improve on, but there are a lot of good things that we can point to as well. The thing that caused the one-sided score, the defensive line for the Lakers were in the Trailblazers' backfield the whole night. It was very tough to stop those very talented athletes on the Lakers' defensive line. They had 10 tackles for losses and 3 sacks, total loss of about 45 yards or so. So it really was that was the big difference in the game. But a few of the good things we can point to, Carrick: the Trailblazers only allowed 382 yards of total offense, one of their lower numbers of the season. That's got to be promising as well. They broke even on the turnover battle. They weren't outmatched in that category. And here's my favorite thing, Carrick: 5 penalties for 17 yards against the Trailblazers. That shows that they went in there, they were disciplined, they wanted to win that game, they gave everything they had, and they competed well. And that's, like I said, if you're a Trailblazer fan, a football fan of the Trailblazer football program, you should be proud of the way that they represented the school going out against Grand Valley State.
100%. Wrapped it up there nicely.
Totally agree. Let's move on to volleyball. Volleyball team returned to the Student Activities Center for a pair of RMAC matches over the weekend, including a pivotal matchup with MSU Denver on Saturday. Carrick, they split the 2 games over the weekend. They defeated Chadron State 3-0. And then, as we mentioned on Saturday, lost to MSU Denver 3-0. So not the weekend they wanted to. Obviously, they split the games. But, they were playing very well on Friday. They were very, very poised, and they came out with a victory, a 3-0 sweep over Chadron State on Friday. Then, of course, just came out a little bit flat on Saturday, and that's one of those types of games where that kind of game happens every once in a while. You come out a little bit flat for whatever reason. That's a game you can just move on, put in the past, not panic too much about it. But again, splitting the weekend against Chadron State and MSU Denver.
Yeah, you can't think too much on the MSU Denver game. I think you have to go back and address it and say, hey, what happened? Because they were firing on all cylinders. Like we said, in the Friday game against Chadron State, jumping out to big leads in each set and then completing the sweep with the 3-0 sweep. And, out hitting their opponents, out blocking their opponents Friday night against Chadron State. And you thought, well, that's a great start. That's going to carry over into Saturday. And then you could tell that MSU Denver, I think it was a game that MSU Denver really felt like it needed to win. And it did. They came in, and Dixie State fought back, but just could never quite get over the hump and take leads. They had a lead, set 3, and then gave up something like 11-2 run, I think it was, for MSU Denver in the third set to close out the victory. But like you said, I mean, you can't dwell too much on it, but you've got to let it bother you just enough to say, hey, we're not going to let that happen again. You're at a point where I believe the top 4 host the quarterfinal RMAC tournament game, and then after that, the highest remaining seed hosts the rest of the tournament. You're at a point where you're starting to think about that RMAC tournament. You can't let too many more slide by if you want to stay in the RMAC tournament. And
you have a good chance to put that game in your rearview mirror with a big matchup against Colorado Mesa University coming up this next weekend. A good chance to get back on track.
Absolutely. Hey, let's talk about some women's tennis. We haven't talked about women's tennis too much on the show, and well, that's because, quite frankly, they haven't been playing. They just played their 2 fall matches. It was supposed to have been 3 or 4 fall matches in Grand Junction, Colorado this last weekend, but there was some inclement weather, some rain moved in, part of that same rain and storm system that we had here in St. George and all throughout Utah But women's tennis goes to Colorado. They had MSU Denver and CSU Pueblo. Both of those teams, because of the weather, they didn't feel like they were going to be able to get their matches in. Plus, those two teams have men's and women's teams, so they were bringing two different teams and just saying, look, there's not going to be enough. There's not enough courts. There's not going to be enough time. The way they're going to have to change the schedule, so they pulled out. They didn't come to the trip, so that left Dixie State kind of scrambling, saying, what can we do to get more than one match? Because we don't necessarily want to drive to Grand Junction for the one match. They started off with a 4-3 win on Friday against Colorado Mesa University, and that's a different score if you're thinking Division II scoring, because 4-3, or in Division II, you have to win at least 5 points to win the match. But Division I scoring, which is how they decided to play this match, the two coaches got together and said, hey, I think Division II is leaning toward down the road, gonna play the same scoring rules as Division I, so let's do that. Dixie State lost 2 out of 3 doubles matches, so that counted as 1 point. So Colorado Mesa took a 1-0 lead into singles play, and then Dixie State was able to win 4 out of the 6 singles matches to take a 4-3 win there. And then they turned it into a romp over Division III Colorado College on Saturday, 8-1. And they're 2-0 at this point, and they've done that the last couple of years, been able to win some matches in the fall and now into the spring, to where I've been told, and we don't have official game times and things, but they're going to play about 6 or 7 home matches this year. That's the most they will have ever played in spring schedule as a member of Division II. So that's exciting. More opportunity to get to see the women's tennis team and to put on display their new courts that will be finishing up over the holidays and into the first of the new year. So congratulations to women's tennis. Great weekend. They go 2-0 in Colorado.
Absolutely. Good start for the women's tennis team. But talking about a sport that we haven't talked about so far, Carrick, is women's swimming. The women's swimming team opened up its season at the PCSC Pentathlon and Relays in California on Friday and Saturday. Carrick, they had a tremendous showing. It was a very, very good showing from the women's swimming team. Here's some of the rundown, quick numbers. Broke 4 school records at this meet in California. They had 6 top 3 finishes in the relay portion of that meet. They finished 3rd overall in the relay portion, finished 5th overall in the pentathlon portion. A lot of good numbers. Well, you look back and you see one of the better records that they set Carrick was Miriam Gonzalez, Audrey Hyde, Megan Draney, and Kelsey Wright. They swam the second fastest 500-yard relay in program history. That was good enough to finish 2nd place with a time of 4 minutes and 46 seconds. So they got off to a really good start, Carrick, and were able to, kind of have a good start to the season over there at the PCSC meet over in California.
Great weekend for women's swimming. They're at Pepperdine this weekend, and out on Division I school to take on some schools at the Pepperdine Invitational. How about women's golf? We talked a little bit about them in the past, and in fact had Coach Stuckey and Caitlin Diebel on the show last week. They go to Bellingham, Washington just yesterday and Monday, so the 8th and 9th, Bellingham, Washington, for the Western Washington Invitational, where they finished 8th. It was basically the same performances. They were at 8th after the first day, shot, I think, the same score second day to finish at 8th still. Their leading scorer was Caitlin Diebel. She continues that. Down a little bit from where she was the first couple of weeks, but still pretty good. Tied for 14th at 9 over did Caitlin Diebel. The women's golf team will have one more event this fall before taking a break until the spring. That's at the Fort Lewis Skyhawk Intercollegiate, hosted by Fort Lewis in Albuquerque, New Mexico on October 22nd and 23rd. And now wrapping up our weekend recap, men's and women's soccer. Of the 4 matches those two teams played, no wins, in fact, no goals scored. Men's soccer got a scoreless draw at South Dakota Mines Sunday to pick up the lone point of the weekend for both of those two teams combined. So not really the road trips that they were looking for, but an opportunity. Women's soccer will be at home this week. Men's soccer still on the road. Yeah, and then, it's a tough time right now for the soccer teams, but as we've seen in the past, they are able to score goals and to be able to compete, and I think that the same thing is true going forward. And again, you kind of have to look at this one game at a time and just say, hey, let's put these games behind us and let's go forward. That's all you can do. about time to take a break, but before we do, that wraps up our weekend recap. Before we do, I want to give you just a little bit more background info about what you're going to see and hear if you're listening on the radio, on Radio Dixie 91.3 FM, throughout the rest of the show. Drayson and I, as we've hinted throughout the show, had an opportunity last Friday to go out to the Ledges Golf Club just north of St. George here and to be able to spend some time with head coach Brad Sutterfield of the men's golf team and his players. We had a blast out there filming, playing putting contests. So what you're going to see, we're going to take a break here in just a minute. What you're going to see first is we had a great opportunity to take a couple minutes with each of the players to get to know them better and kind of see where they're from, what drives them as golf players, and to do that. Second part of that, we played a fun game of 7-Up, and we'll explain those rules here in just a little while. But putting contest with a couple of the players Drayson and I had a blast out there, Drayson. I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see this stuff. It
was an absolutely good time, Carrick. The weather was perfect, and we said a couple of times, even if we're not actually playing 9 holes ourselves or whatever, we're out on a golf course and we're enjoying being able to enjoy the good weather out there. It was really, really fun, and our putting competition, Carrick, does go down to the wire. I'm excited for everyone to see that, and I can't wait to show it.
So we do have to run to that first break. Again, this is on radio, TV, and internet. If you're listening on the radio at Radio Dixie 91.3 FM, and if you can't all get to a phone, youtube.com/Dixie State Athletics or Trailblazer Weekly on Facebook Live. You'll hear this stuff, and you'll get a great effect from it, but to really get the full effect, you got to watch it, especially during the golf competition. So if you're listening on the radio and you can get to your phone, youtube.com/Dixie State Athletics, and you can keep up with this stuff the rest of the way. We got to take a break. When we come back, we show you our interviews with the men's golfers as well as head coach Brad Sutterfield as they get set to host their Dixie State men's golf fall regional preview. That timeout, and right back with more on Trailblazer Weekly. It's time for more Trailblazer Weekly on location. Today, Drayson and I are at the Ledges Golf Club just outside of St. George. We love being in the studio, but we absolutely love and enjoy the opportunities to get outside of the studio, and I couldn't think of a better place to be today, Drayson, than at the Ledges Golf Club.
Hey, you said it, Carrick. I mean, it looks great out here. Everything's in great condition. You got awesome views, 360-degree views all the way around. You got the Red Rock, you got the White Rock. It's just awesome to be out here and get to know the men's golf team, which has had a great season so far.
Of course, the men's golf team has the South Central preview coming up on Monday and Tuesday, October 15th and 16th, and that's one of the reasons we're out here is to get to know this team just a little bit better. We're going to chat with each of the players as well as head coach Brad Sutterfield. We want to take you along for the ride. There's a lot of guys out here on the team, so to help save on some time and to be more efficient, we're going to split up. We'll talk to each of the players. We'll check back with you later. This is Trailblazer Weekly on location. Hope you enjoy it.
Nicholas Britt. I'm from Fillmore, Utah, and I'm a senior this year.
I'm Gage Ecker. I'm from Monroe, Utah, and I'm a freshman.
Davis Heslington. I'm a freshman in Beaver, Utah.
It's Alec Johnson. I'm a junior and from Pocatello, Idaho.
Brock Nielsen. I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Salem, Utah.
I'm Bradley Wade. I'm a freshman, and I was born in American Fork, but raised in St. George, Utah here.
I'm Spencer Wallace. I'm a sophomore this year, and I'm from Layton, Utah.
So my name's Tristan Gardner.
My name's Grant Wilson. I'm a freshman, and I'm from Bountiful, Utah.
Hey, so I'm Kobe Reck, and I'm from Orderville, Utah, and I'm a freshman.
My name's Noah Schoen. I'm a freshman, and hometown of St. George.
Why golf? What is it about golf that keeps you coming back day after day?
Golf's just so fun because there's so many ups and downs. One day you go out and play great, and then the next day you don't know really what you're doing sometimes, and then you always just hit that one shot or one putt or something that makes you want to keep going and try to hit them shots and putts over and over again.
Golf's fun because it's a tough sport, and golf's a lot like life, so it's you're always grinding, and it's a good challenge.
I would say just the constant change in golf, and it's just constantly growing and learning. You think you got the game down, and then you go out and play, and you're like, nope, I don't. So it's just you're always working, and sun's always changing. So
yeah, it's just the challenge of it all. It's tough, but that's why we love it. My family plays golf, my dad and my brother, so helps us stay together, which is nice.
Do you have a favorite? Is there a favorite moment that you have? Maybe a shot. Go back in your career, maybe high school or your college. Is there a favorite moment or a favorite shot that you can remember on the golf course?
My favorite shot recently was our first time practicing as a team, and we We were all playing Southgate, and I was like 50 yards out, and it was the first hole playing with all the guys, and I made it from like 50 yards from downhill lie. So that's my favorite one this year.
Favorite moment. I've had a lot of really cool moments. I look back at my senior year of high school. I won 8 out of 9 region events, and won region player of the year. So that was a really cool moment. And then obviously starting off the year this year with the top 10, a 7th place finish up in Washington. That's got to be one of my favorite moments, is to start off a college career with a top 10.
Favorite moment would be winning the Pac West last year as a team, and then individually it was just a really good week. It was fun being with the team.
All right, would you rather hole out from 50 yards out or so for eagle, or sink a long eagle putt?
I'm going to say hole out for eagle, especially if you're playing with a couple competitors. It gets under their skin, and it can alter the match a little bit.
Long putt for sure. You can hit your drive offline, and then if you get it on the green and make the long putt, you're still birdieing. But if you miss that putt, you're stroke back. So, I don't know. I take the putt every time.
Oh, definitely save par. I tend to hit it in the junk sometimes, and save and par. Those are the ones that keep your round going and the momentum going. So those are the better than making a birdie. So.
What's your favorite club and why? You got to have a good shot.
My putter, this guy, I sleep with him, take him everywhere I go, man. I'd say putter for sure. And just making a putt, I don't think there's a better feeling.
And golf course bucket list, money's not a factor. You can go play any course in the world right now. Where are you going?
Augusta.
Oh, Augusta, by far.
Augusta National, for sure.
Augusta National, for sure.
I mean, Cyprus is #1 in the world, and I've been pretty fortunate to play there. So I would say there again, or maybe Augusta National.
Obviously Augusta National, because no one gets to play that unless you're playing the Masters. And so Augusta National or the Old Course.
If I said anything but Augusta, I think I'd be lying. I'd say the Masters for sure. So.
It'd be Augusta for sure. The Masters, I mean, it's amazing. I would love to play there.
Had to be Augusta.
And golf course bucket list, money's not a factor. You can go anywhere right now and play any course in the world. Where you're going?
Easily Oak Ridge Country Club.
Men's golf head coach Brad Sutterfield joining us on Trailblazer Weekly now. And Coach, thanks for letting us stop by practice and for kind of taking your guys out of their routine and at least just helping us get to know them and help us feature your team. It's been fun to get to know them. It's been fun to be out here at the course. Want to just talk to you a little bit about how the season's gone so far here in the fall, and then we'll also talk about that regional preview that we have coming up here this month as well. So first, let's just talk about the first 3 events in here in the fall. What have you seen that you liked? And maybe throw out a couple of names of those guys that are kind of helping carry the load right now and just take us up to speed on what's going on so far.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. We appreciate you coming up. We've had an up and down fall. I've seen a lot of good things, a lot of things we need to work on, and the guys know it. They know what we need to work on to get better. We can be really good if we've got everybody firing on all cylinders. I think we're as deep as any team around. We've had 2 chances to win tournaments. In New Mexico, we were only 5 or so off the lead going to the last day, and then we were actually leading by like 5 shots with about 10 holes left, and then kind of all of us kind of struggled coming in, which is, it was a tough course, and some young players.
So, Coach, 3 events in. Why don't you just catch us up to speed on those guys that are standing out, helping this team so far, and what you've seen that you've liked through the first 3 events?
Well, I've really liked the play of a couple of our freshmen. Obviously, Tristan Gardner, 2 top 10 finishes right out of the gate. Very impressive. Anytime I think you can have a top 20 event, top 20 place in a college tournament, you're doing pretty good. And he's had 7th place, 2 7th place finishes. Final round at New Mexico, 69 on a really hard course. So very impressed with him. Noah Schoen, obviously great start to the season. I think he finished 7th in his first event also. So freshman, very impressed with. Our senior Nick has kind of got off to a slow start, and he knows it, but still we know he's going to be there for us. Spencer Wallace, our sophomore, is solid as always. He needs to step it up a little bit, and he knows that. But if we get everybody playing all together good, we're a really deep team.
Of course, both parts of this golf season are important, the fall and the spring. Of course, the championship season is the spring. So what is it that you're looking to see from your guys? I mean, you don't ever say that it's okay that maybe they're not playing at the top of their game in a certain event in the fall, but is there a little bit of encouragement knowing that, hey, that's what this is for? We're playing in the fall so we can be ready to be at the top of our game in the spring.
Yeah, traditionally we're a better spring team for whatever reason. I think we just work hard in the off season and kind of get our wits about us. But the fall season is hugely important for us. If we get out and beat the region teams we need to, it sets us up to not have to chase some of these teams down in the spring for region rankings. By that I mean we finished third in New Mexico. We beat every team that we really needed to beat. We beat all the teams in our conference. We beat obviously every team except 2. So we're 1-0 against all those other teams, which when we go into the off season, it's a little bit, not that it makes it easy, but we know that we're not playing from behind starting out in the spring.
Coach, tell us about this fall preview. I know it's hosted by Holiday Inn. What else can you tell us about it? How did it come about, and what kind of expectations do you have going into that event?
Yeah, well, we put in a bid to host NCAA regionals, truthfully, because a lot of teams hadn't put in a bid. We didn't know if we'd get it or not, and we got it, so we're excited about that. It's been a lot of work to get this tournament going, but we got 26 teams coming in a week from Monday. 26 of probably the best teams in the Western and, Texas and West. Really good, solid teams. We're going to have to play really good. This is our home course, but we're going to have to play really good to win this thing. It's only a 36-hole event. Just a good opportunity for all these teams to see the course. And when we come back in May is when we have the actual NCAA regionals. So
that fall preview, of course, here at Legends Golf Course as well. Coach, we've been able to hang out with you here at practice with your guys, get to know them. We saw you've done some coaching as well, going over some tips with some guys. Tell me a little bit about practice and kind of how you like to run things and how you're able to help the guys and what you've kind of seen from them as well.
Well, that's a great question. Golf is really an individual sport that you play as a team in college. So truthfully, we're not like basketball where we're running drills all the time as a team doing defensive drills. I tell these guys, listen, you need to get better on what you know you need to work on. And so I send them out and say, listen, you guys, you need to be practicing your wedges, your short game, your putting, hit a lot of drivers. I don't like them to hit a lot of balls on the range. I think that's kind of a waste of time, truthfully, but they work hard. Honestly, we don't have them doing specific stuff all time. We give them drills and stuff, but for the most part, they know what they need to work on, and they get out and get it done.
This is men's golf head coach Brad Sutterfield. We are here at the Legends Golf Club. Coach, we're going to let you get back to practice with your guys and let you get things finished up. We appreciate you basically hosting us out here today and letting us be your guests. We've had a blast out here. Even had to have the opportunity to have the competition with Noah and Alec on the putting green, and that was fun. And it's just been a blast. So we appreciate you letting us come in and kind of disrupt the routine a little bit. But all in all, we got to know your team really well today.
Well, thanks for coming. You guys are welcome anytime, and we appreciate your support.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Back inside the studio now. Hope you enjoyed that portion of our time at the Legends Golf Club with the men's golf team. An opportunity to get to know the men's golfers and head coach Brad Sutterfield and learn just a little bit more about how this Dixie State Trailblazer Holiday Inn Fall Regional Preview came about. Dixie State will be hosting the South Central Regional in May, and this is a preview of that tournament. Had a blast out at the golf course the other day, Drayson, and it was fun to get to know those guys. And we were joking about while that was running, was that if there's one thing we learned is that most of the men's golfers want to play Augusta National, and you can't blame them for that.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to play at Augusta National? That's my dream course to play is Augusta National, because obviously we see that with the Masters every April, and it's a tremendous course, and I don't blame any of them for wanting to play there. And so it was obviously really fun to get to know each and every one of them. They all had really good stories about their favorite moments and their favorite golf courses and their favorite clubs even, and so there was a lot of fun times to get to know all the players, and they were all really gracious and welcoming for us to be there, and hopefully we didn't disrupt their practice too much, but it was good to get out there and get to know all of them.
One note we did make on Friday when we were there, we want to give a big shout out to everybody at the Legends Golf Club. super nice and super inviting. We pulled up there, and Trey Davis, one of our producers, was there helping produce the video behind the scenes, and they pulled right up and said, hey, here's a cart that you can use. Get your gear down there. That's where the guys are. And they were just gracious hosts and were super nice in getting us where we needed to be. And so want to give them just a shout out. That course right now is immaculate. And that will be a fun tournament on Monday and Tuesday. If I can, I'm going to try to sneak out there for a little while. I've never really been out to a college golf event, so I think it'd be fun to just go out and see how it goes. But there's going to be 26 teams here. There'll only be 18 in the spring when it's the actual South Central Regional, the NCAA event, but 26 of the best teams in that South Central region are coming to St. George, and they're going to see fantastic course, fantastic conditions, and it will be a great event, and it'll be fun to see what the men's golf team can do. Maybe they can win their own tournament here. Who knows?
And maybe they can have their cake and eat it too, Carrick, if winning your own tournament was really good to get out there.
We got to take our next break. When we come back, it is the putting competition that we've been talking about. Alec Johnson and Noah Schoen of the men's golf team go toe-to-toe with Drayson and myself in a 7-up game of putting competition at the Ledges Golf Club. So let's take a break. That's what you'll see and hear right out of this timeout on Trailblazer Weekly. Trailblazer Weekly on location here at the Ledges Golf Club rolls on. You've had an opportunity to meet all of Dixie State men's golfers and hear their answers to our questions. Now we're going to have a little contest of 7-Up. Drayson and I have Noah and Alec here with us. Noah is going to explain the rules, and then we're going to rock and roll.
So we're going to go ahead and play a little best ball. If you make your putt, then you get 2 points, and then closest to gets 1 point. And then if you 3-putt, you get -1. So pretty simple, and it'll be you two versus us two.
All right, may the best team win.
That's right.
All right, Carrick's now on the tee. Carrick and Dr. Dre against Noah and Alec. He's looking over the putt. He's not sure where it's going. Takes a long stroke. Looks for it. Ooh, it's got a good chance. Just needed a little more. Dr. Dre steps over the ball, using the claw grip. A lot of people do that these days. Looks once, looks twice, takes it away. Hits it pretty firm. It's got a chance to skip off his ball. Ooh, had he marked it, probably would have made it. Noah steps up, drains it. Oh, it lips out. He's used to that, folks. He doesn't make very many putts.
So right now, Noah's close. He's the closest one, I believe, right now. Alec will step up. This one looking straight, and now coming back to the left. Oh. And kisses it off Carrick's ball and is like 3 inches from the hole.
So we got the honors here. Noah's stepping up. He's pretty good from this range. Steps in, looks at it, a little left to right, takes a fast stroke, pushes it just a little right, barely misses low side.
So Alec, looking over the ball here. This one starts out with the left. It's going to come right back, and that one's about 3 inches past the hole. Rolls a little bit farther, about a foot now. Carrick will take over.
All right, we got Carrick here.
He's going to put this one in. That's okay.
All right, he's calling the make. He is calling the make. This will put them ahead 2-1 if this goes in. Swings, the ball's going, headed towards the hole. Oh, and he makes it. Oh my gosh. Score is 2-1, and Dr. Dre doesn't even have to putt. Putts for fun, and down 2-1. We'll head to hole 3.
Not too happy. Dr. Dre steps in. He has no idea what this is doing. Hits it fast. It's got a good chance. Oh, it's just barely short. So Carrick has a chance. He's got to get a little closer. He's about a foot away. Carrick last time pulled a literal rabbit out of the hat. Found the hole. Carrick steps in. Looks once. Looks twice. Really wants to make sure he knows where he's going. Here we go. Takes it away. Oh, he hit it pretty good. That one was missed a little left, so didn't find the rabbit this time, but he's pretty close. All right, so my teammate Noah's got a chance here. Gets it going, looking pretty good, and just falls just a little right.
So right now, it looks like it's pretty close. I think Carrick has got the closest ball. He's about 8 inches or so from the cup. The other two are about a foot and a half away or so. So Alec has a chance to win it here, either the closest two or to sink it. Again, 2-1. Myself and Carrick are leading This putt is going to go outside left of Carrick's ball. It will be outside. Carrick once again secures the point for us. So Carrick and Drayson will take a 3-1 lead over Noah and Alec of the men's golf team.
So what happens is when you win a hole, you get to pick the next one. And Dr. Dre or Big Blue, that is the claw grip. Quite the slider here. About 20 feet of break. Takes it back short, stubs it. It's got a pretty good chance. Breaks early. It's about 5 feet, but we are down 3-1 in this match, and we need to find a way to get a point here. I forget that Carrick's lefty, so I stepped up behind him. So steps in. Still shaky hand. He's not sure how fast they are today. But it's getting better as we go on. They're still beating us. Takes an early break and breaks out early. So another rule of this game is if you 3-putt, get the putt in with 3, you lose a point here. So you do take the closest ball, but you have to make that second putt. So now Noah's on the tee, steps up. He's playing a lot of break. Hits it pretty hard. It's breaking low. Didn't play quite enough break, and we have secured the closest points. Noah's now on the tee. Needs to make this one for us. If not, I got the cover. Tie the hole, but we win the point. Okay, we're good. Next hole.
So just a quick update. Drayson and Carrick leading the match 3 points to 2. Noah is standing over this putt. About a 30-footer, right to left break. This one's got a chance, and it is very, very close, just above the hole. We've got about a 35-foot putt here, slightly uphill, right to left breaker. Alec putts his. It's looking good, but it does sell a little past, bumps into Noah's ball.
Grayson's going to step up. I've never done golf play-by-play before. That's going to be a little short and a little left.
Putt's on its way. Has a pretty good line, but it comes up a few feet short. So men's golf will win this hole, but they do have a little work left to go.
On this hole, it's a long one, 35, I don't know, maybe longer. A slow putt down the hill, left to right. This one's looking very good. This one is in, and this hole is over. 5-3. Now Alec and Noah lead this one.
So there is a chance for points here. Actually, if either of them makes this putt, game is over. So it doubles if you make. So there's 4 points available. Dr. Dre and Carrick have a chance here. If not, it'll be 5-3. Dr. Dre he decides he wants to line up the putt. Hasn't done that all day yet. He's looking for a rabbit. They found a few today. But Dr. Dre's pretty consistent. Steps in, looks at it. He's calling back for the process. Takes it away, gives it a pretty good whack. Looks pretty good. Oh, just barely outside left. Carrick now up. This putt right now for 4 points to win the game. All right, they're talking over a read. I'm not sure what they see here. We don't see the same thing, but steps in, looks at it. Looks again. He's all about the process. He only looks once. Hands forward, little shaking. Looks again. He's taking a while over the ball. Hits it. Looks pretty good. On line, just barely misses it right. Okay, so they have to make this to stay within a few, but now we do take the lead 5-3.
The competition continues. This exciting game of 7-Up. Noah and Alec currently holding a 5-3 lead. Made a couple lucky putts. They're going to try to do it again. If Alec makes it, if he makes this, it's over. Uh-oh. Little to the right. What do you think, Dr. Dre? I like that nickname for you, by the way. Is Noah going to end the game on this putt?
Well, I mean, he's getting some help from his teammate, but I don't think he's going to make this one.
Drayson has an opportunity to tie things up with this putt. Again, let's give the microphone back to the professionals. Here's Alec, professional golf commentator.
My investing career is going to be put on hold. Going to go into command. Dr. Dre strokes it. Oh! 5-3 lead still, but they do have it closest on this hole. Takes it away. Ball on its way. Shoves it a little left. It's not coming back and a little bit of short. He was getting risky, wanted to just take the point, so it's now 5-4. 5-4 scores 5-4. Dr. Dre's quick on this one. Steps up. Takes a nice stroke. It's up the hill, literally dead in the heart of the hole. Carrick's Carrick's turn. He's stepping in. Putter's taken away. Ball's on his way. Hits it pretty good. Looks pretty good. But they're dead short. Getting creative. He might has a little window. It's about a 2-inch window. He's going to have to hit it hard up the hill. Hits it hard. Find it. Oh!
So update on the scenario. So Carrick's ball is now closest, about 2.5 inches away. But the path to the hole is clear now. So this is Alec on the last hole potentially if he makes this. So he'll feel the pressure. Certainly this putt's on its way. It's dead straight. It's right down the middle and it lips out. 1 inch to the right. That would have been the game over. Carrick's is closest to the hole and we get the point. And the match is now even 5-5.
Okay, so he's using a strategy of playing break. Yet what they don't understand is that Noah and I love break putts. It's what we make. Dr. Dre chooses a putt. He goes back to the circus. We've got about 10 feet of break here. It's on a side hole. Ball doesn't really want to stay there. Looks over it, takes it away, hits it really hard. He hits it through the break. It's not going to come back down to the hole. But it's somewhat close, about 5 feet. The game's still tied 5-5. If either team makes, it's over. So Carrick steps in, looks at it. He's very calm this time. The hands have calmed out. Oh, but he doesn't hit it very hard. He misses it out to the right. Noah steps in. We need to make this one. Plays a lot of break, but it breaks early. Sit. I'm not sure if that's closest. I don't think that's closest.
Host of Trailblazer Weekly in it to win this one. That is, of course, unless Alec puts it inside 5 feet or holes out. Again, this putt about 35-foot breaker to the left. Big break. This one looking good, and it looks like it may have ran a little long. All right, Alec's going to go first. He has to make this or else they lose a point. He puts it in, putting the pressure on Carrick and I.
All right, Carrick's up. He has to make it to get the point. If not, they lose a point. It was 5-5. It will be 5-4, and they will get to pick the next hole, but 5-4. Steps in, short putt, 3 feet away. Doesn't even look at the hole, takes it back. Ooh, lips it around again. Carrick and Dr. Dre are looking at the putt. It's 6-5 them. We have a chance to make 2 points for make, 1 point for closest. If they do make this, they go over. So you cannot go over 7. It's nice of us. Nope, it's nice of us that we told you now until you make it, and then we told you lose. That's something that we would do. Okay. Steps in, he's calling a make. He's looked about 4 times. Very calm. Putt's on its way, a little out to the left. Not breaking down as much as he wants, but it's perfect speed. He's about a cup out left. Noah's next. If Noah makes this, we can win. Come from behind win. We're pretty good at doing that. Won conference a couple times the last few years coming from behind. Noah steps up. Oh, it's dead center for the win! All right, men's golf takes the W.
Epic showdown. Carrick and Drayson of Trailblazer Weekly against Noah and Alec of the men's golf team. Great competition to 7-up.
Thank you, sir.
Good job, guys. Obviously, the men's golf team is clearly better putters than Carrick and I, and they beat us 7-6, Carrick.
Welcome back inside the studio. I just had to take a deep breath there. I'm have all these sad feelings coming back. We had that game in the bag, Drayson. I put that putt 2 inches from the hole. That was our 7th point. We were going to win, and then Noah had to go and ruin the fun and make that putt for them to win 7-6. But what a fun time we had at Ledges Golf Club. And I think we had those men's golfers sweating just a little bit, and then they were ultimately able to win in the end, which they should have. So good for them. It was a great challenge, but I had a blast out there on the golf course.
It was so fun to just be able to play with them and get to know them and just hang out in a casual environment. And obviously, the putting competition was fun and suspenseful. And there was a few putts there, Carrick, that they could have put us away well before that final putt. Obviously, we put the pressure on them, and they responded because they're true competitors, and that's what they do for a living. They thrive under the pressure, and when they had to make the putt, they made it, and obviously won beat us 7-6.
Of course, this whole golf thing doesn't work out for Alec Johnson. We know where he's headed. He's headed to a career in broadcasting and comedy, and he put on a good show and actually got in my head a little bit and had me all overthinking my putting process and you know, I like to look down and stare down the hole before I put it in there, and what can you do? He got in my head and we lost 7-6. But looking forward to being able to go out to more practices and more sports and I just can't tell you, again, how I sound like a broken record. I can't tell you how much fun I had at the Ledges Golf Club. Another shout out to the Ledges Golf Club for hosting us out there and letting us have a good time. Again, coming up on Monday and Tuesday, it's the Dixie State Holiday Inn Fall Regional Preview. It's a mouthful, but we got to make sure we get the Holiday Inn in there as well. And they're helping out a lot, sponsoring the tournament and hosting the tournament. And 26 teams in at the Ledges Golf Club this weekend. We'll have a breakdown of how Dixie State does next week on the show. We do need to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it all up. Another big shout out and a big thank you to head coach Brad Sutterfield and all of his golfers for letting us come and crash their party at practice the other day. We had a blast. Can't wait to get out to some other practices and show you the fun things we have in store as well. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show with a weekend preview. That time out and back after this on Trailblazer Weekly. And welcome back inside Trailblazer Weekly. I'm not sure who placed that Dodgers hat there, but Drayson is probably going to be a little unhappy about that. I really did not know if that was coming, Drayson. I apologize. The Dodgers knocking out Drayson's Atlanta Braves, and he was over it until now. Like I said, I had no clue that was coming, buddy, so sorry about that.
I mean, I'm suspicious that anyone else in this room would even have a Dodgers hat. So there's probably one person to blame, and I feel like I know who it is. So.
I gotta have a little fun here on the set, right? We gotta have fun.
I mean, if that's what you call fun, is harassing your co-host, then sure, let's have a little fun.
Oh, welcome back inside Trailblazer Weekly. We got to do a weekend preview. Time running out quickly here, and we may not ever recover from that now. But let's talk about some football, some volleyball. We also got home soccer this weekend as well. Let's start with the football team. After 2 games on the road, back to Trailblazer Stadium, and a good opportunity to get to 5-1 in conference play. Western, and I keep wanting to say Western State Colorado because that's what they've been. They recently dropped the state. So it's Western Colorado University in on Saturday. Dixie State right now 4-2 overall, 4-1 in the RMAC, looking to get that 5th victory of the season. Western Colorado 0-6 and 0-5 in the RMAC, have not won a game yet, but Drayson, you can't overlook this Western Colorado team. They're a team that's put up some points against some tough opponents, and if you overlook them, they'll get you.
And one thing is for certain, Carrick, and this goes for any team that has not got a victory on the season, they're eager and desperate for a victory. And the Trailblazers can't let that be over them. You have to take care of your home field advantage, and you need to go in and play the game that you need to play to be able to win this game. You can't overlook them looking down the schedule, and you can't gloss over thinking, hey, they're 0-6, they're an easy win. That's the type of game that you go in and you could lose that game really quickly if you kind of go in with that mindset. Again, 0-6, 0-5 in the RMAC. It's a game you should win. You have to take care of business. You can't overlook them because they are desperate and eager for a victory, Carrick. Moving on now to volleyball. The volleyball team is back on the road for 2 matches this weekend in Colorado. Carrick, first off, we mentioned earlier in the show that they play Colorado Mesa to begin that road trip in Colorado. They need to have a good showing against them and ultimately need to come out with a W after that tough loss to MSU Denver last weekend. It's a good opportunity to get yourself back into a good position in the RMAC standings. Obviously, you're right there near the top as well, but a good quality win over Colorado Mesa University would be a great way to kind of recover from that MSU Denver loss. Oh, absolutely, and it's great that the game's on Friday. You got a 2-game back-to-back trip, go to Grand Junction, and of course you have to take care of business at Western Colorado on Saturday night as well, but you go to Grand Junction Friday night and say, this is our opportunity to put that loss to MSU Denver behind us. Colorado Mesa has probably had this game circled on the schedule since Dixie State won the matchup last month here in the Student Activity Center, so they'll be ready. It's going to be a tough matchup. I'm excited to see the outcome of that one, and then, of course, the volleyball team, like I mentioned, to Gunnison, Colorado. A little bit of a trek from Grand Junction to Gunnison Friday into Saturday for a 6 p.m. matchup in Gunnison Saturday night. Quickly, before we wrap up the show here, want to also let you know women's soccer is at home this weekend. They will have games on Friday and Saturday. They've been on the road